Hi, it's Patrik from Intensive Care at Home, where we provide tailor-made solutions for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies, and where we also provide tailor-made solutions for hospitals and intensive care units whilst providing quality services for long-term ventilated adults and children and medically complex patients at home. In last week's blog, I talked about my brother is in ICU with a tracheostomy and can't come off the ventilator. Can you help me bring him home? You can check out last week's blog by clicking on the link below this video. In today's blog post, I want to answer a question from one of our clients, and the question today is: my 52-year-old brother is stuck in the ICU and the hospital does not want to help anymore with weaning him off the ventilator. Can you help us in taking him home? So Maren writes in: my brother is 52 years of age. The only medical problem he had was chronic heart failure and mild COPD. 5 months ago he had sepsis and the ICU doctors didn't want to treat him. There was a delay in providing proper care, and that caused him to have a respiratory infection and a crash, and he ended up on a ventilator eventually with the tracheostomy. Now he's on the ventilator with a tracheostomy in a spontaneous breathing mode, but he can't be weaned off the ventilator at all. He might have a few minutes off the ventilator, but he's really struggling to keep it off for longer periods of time. Therefore, he's stuck in ICU at the moment, and the hospital doesn't want to help him anymore with weaning him off the ventilator, and they want to stop treatment. Given that he's only 52, we want to take him home. Instead, our goal is to remove the tracheostomy and getting him off the ventilator. Can you help us in taking him home? Thank you so much, from Maren. Here is my response. Hi, Maren. Well, this is quite a common problem that we see across the board in ICU. Unfortunately, ICUs don't want to continue treating, and they are ready to withdraw treatment. They need the ICU bed, but rather than looking at taking patients home with our service, Intensive Care at Home, they want to stop treatment and withdraw treatment. And unfortunately, that's the first step to end of life. And that's where we can help you to take your brother home and continue treatment there. Now, I wouldn't know at this particular point in time whether he's able to come off the ventilator or not. You haven't shared enough information, but in any case, if he's been in ICU for 5 months now, it's time for him to go home. He's probably depressed. He's probably in a COVID-infested intensive care unit, and he has no quality of life. And it's time for him to go home and set it up properly at home. So the next step really is to give me a call and we can look into your situation. You are saying that you are in Sydney, Australia. You would be aware that at the age of 52, your brother would qualify for the NDIS, also known as the National Disability Insurance Scheme. And I think we should have a chat about the funding, about specialist support coordination, which we can help you with. I should say specialist NDIS support coordination, where we can help you with, and then set up the funding, set up the team, set up the equipment, talk to the ICU, making sure you get the right support at home for your brother, improving his quality of life, making sure he's out of an ICU where the ICU is full of COVID and other infections. And at home, there is no COVID. It's a much safer environment, less infection risk, more quality of life. And you as a family don't have to go into ICU all the time. And again, you'll be much safer off with not having COVID. So I hope that helps. Let me know if there's anything else you need, but I think the next step is for us to talk to you, talk to the ICU, and go home. Thank you so much. Now, if you have a loved one in intensive care and you want to go home with our service, Intensive Care at Home, and if you want to find out how to get funding for our service and how it all works, please contact us on one of the numbers on the top of our website, or simply send me an email to info@intensivecareathome.com. That is, again, info@intensivecareathome.com. Please also have a look at our case studies, because there we highlight more about what we can do for our clients, how clients can live at home with ventilation and tracheostomies. And you can look at our case studies as well at our service section and our case study section. And if you are at home already and you need support for your critically ill loved one at home, and you have insufficient support or insufficient funding, please contact us as well. We can help you with all of the above. And if you are an intensive care nurse or a pediatric intensive care nurse with a minimum of 2 years ICU or pediatric ICU experience, and you ideally have a critical care certificate, please contact us as well. check out our career section on our website. We are currently hiring ICU and pediatric ICU nurses for clients in the Melbourne metropolitan area, northern suburbs, Sunbury, Mornington Peninsula, Frankston area, South Gippsland, Warragul, Druin, Tridar, Moe, Trafalgar, Bendigo, Derrimut, Essendon, and we are also hiring in the Wollongong area in New South Wales. We are an NDIS, TAC and DVA approved community service provider in Australia. Have a look at our range of full service provisions. We have been part of the Royal Melbourne Health Accelerator program in the past for innovative healthcare companies. Thank you for watching this video and thank you for tuning into this week's blog. This is Patrik Hutzel from Intensive Care at Home, and I'll see you again next week in another update.